All right, everybody, this is live from the barbecue department at Wannemakers. I'm Steve Kress. I am the grill department manager here at Wannemakers, the epicenter of grilling here in the western suburbs of Chicago, located in lovely, beautiful Downers Grove, Illinois. We do have a guest today, special guest, long overdue guest, probably should have been on a long time ago. A little bit of barbecue royalty. He's been at this for a long time, has won many championships. The American Royal seems to be his place to be. So without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Chris Marks.
How you doing,
Chris,
Steve?
how are you? I'm doing good,
great.
Chris. How are you, buddy?
Oh, living the dream, getting all locked and loaded, heading to Utah this weekend for barbecue classes. So
nice.
Hopefully
nice.
I'm not driving through a blizzard in Wyoming. So always something.
Did you go to the Royal last week?
Oh yeah, I was the Royal all 4 days. Beautiful, balmy 95 degrees most of the day. Yeah, nice. It was our 30th year at the Royal.
Yeah, you do a pretty good job there at the Royal. I think you've won a couple, huh?
Yeah, we've done pretty well there. We did really well there for quite a while. And I think we had a winning streak of about 8 either grand champions or reserve grand champions in a row.
Oh, nice. Well, you can't beat those odds. I'll take that any day of the week.
I know. We still couldn't figure out, like my mom says, a squirrel finds a nut every now and then. And
right.
A lot of nuts.
Yeah, right. Well, that's pretty good. You won a lot of other ones on top of that.
Yeah, we've won like 75 other contests across the U.S. But we're really known for winning that Royal. And, I don't know why. There's some contests we can never win. And then the American Royal, for some reason, we were tied into that invitational. They just loved our stuff there.
So you've been to the Royal, you do classes, you do this. Let's go back to what got you into all this. What sparked you all those years ago that got you into competitive barbecue? Because as a
great story. I was drug into it by my mom and dad. My father was a senior exec at Hallmark Cards. Of course, that's corporate Kansas City. And when he retired, my mom said, we need to find him something to do. He's driving me absolutely insane. So he went, and he was a good cook anyway. And so my mom and dad were just excellent cooks. And he had learned forever from our neighbor next door. And they'd been cooking back and forth. And most of the time it was grilling. It was never high traditional smoking. We bought him at Oklahoma Joe, big traditional, now they call them the Horizons. A big one, a big pit, which I still have, and actually just having it rebuilt. I wanted it for the Royal, but just wasn't able to get there. And from there, he entered a barbecue contest in our hometown of Raytown, Missouri, suburb of Kansas City, and didn't have a clue what he was doing, not one clue whatsoever. And created the guy walks in, he says, "Well, you can't have you got to make a name up. You got to make a name." So he had just read the Three Little Pigs books to my nephews. He said, I guess we're 3 little pigs. So seriously, Steve, that's where it started. And he got tanked. Of course, usually you have your learning on your first couple contests where you get totally inebriated. And he tried to live and this was in September in Kansas City, and it was cold, and he was trying to sleep in a tent. He's 60 some years old. And then, of course, him and his buddy were up drinking all night, and the back end of a smoker fell off while I was cooking his turkey. It was a total debacle, is all I can say. But he loved it. He loved it. And after a couple of contests where he didn't do very well, my mom says, well, I think we need to get involved to sort of help him out a little bit. So that's where it started. My mom got involved, the organizer, and pretty much organized everything out. She traditionally did the boxes, and I was the cook. And my dad pretty much was promotion and marketing. So he walked around and talked to people.
Right. So, but how did you, nowadays it's, everybody, takes for granted that barbecue as it is right now. I mean, you do a lot of classes. I host classes. There's YouTube videos, there's things online, and it's easy to try and get to learn barbecue. How did you go from those beginnings to perfecting did you read? Did you
No.
watch
Now,
other get
understand
tutored?
back then, Steve, there was no, you had to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go do a contest and you don't know who the judges were. They weren't trained.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them came off the street and you had to just
Right.
do good barbecue. And that's what we did. I mean, traditionally now I see it more as a judging contest than I do as a cooking contest because everybody's trying to cook the same identical thing. Everybody uses the same identical stuff. I mean, I must have tasted 20 different varieties of barbecue out the American oil and it all tasted the same. Whereas in the old days, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
We cooked more traditional pit back then. We didn't use a lot of foil. We don't use a lot of sugar, brown sugar, honey, and wrap everything. And it was more of a traditional pit style barbecue. And
Right.
now again, it's turned in more to almost a gourmet
Mm-hmm.
type cooking, and we're having to use Wagyu on everything, custom cuts. Steve, I won barbecue world championships on buying briskets on the same counter in Independence, Missouri at Sam's Club on my way down to the contest. Perfect 180 scores. I didn't have to go buy $350 Wagyu. I think what we've done is we've transitioned this hobby into pretty much pushing it so far upscale that they're losing a lot of the traditional guys.
Well, and that's it. And I'm just, nowadays, like you said, and everybody does it. There's that Kansas City profile. Everybody's trying to hit that profile. That's what the judges are trained to look for, is that Kansas City profile. So it does take a little of the, I can't think of the word,
guesswork.
Not only guesswork, but just individuality out of
Absolutely.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. I got into that such a long question. I forgot what I was going to ask. But it's a shame that's how it's become. But as you were saying, everybody's talking about how there's not that many new cooks coming up and this and that. And is that a victim of the fact that they're looking at what you have to do to win? And it's like, well, geez, I got to go to a competition. I got to have 2 or 3 briskets. They're $350 a piece. I'm now dropping almost
going in the right
$1,000.
direction.
Yeah. I'm dropping $1,000 just on brisket, let alone now I got to get ribs and I got to get chicken and I got to get pork. And it's a big investment just to even get into it.
I hear a lot of these guys who do this. And when I do classes, Steve, I actually just did my 500th class in Branson last month.
Wow.
And that was starting again in 2000 to now, but my 500th. And what do I hear in these classes is, I sort of want to put my foot, I sort of want to try it. But then, when we talk about dabbling, he goes, but I'm going to have $1,500 to $1,700 just to do a contest.
Right.
And then when I do a contest, I have all these big teams that show up and they're win it I have no chance is what a lot of these new guys are saying, because some of these guys are doing 40 and 50 contests a year and they're going in to win. And these other guys are going in more to have a hobby and to have fun, but they get frustrated.
Right. Now, I wonder, would KCBS do just a hype? I know there's the backyard. You can do backyard, and then obviously you go right into the pros. Would it make them, to try and get more teams involved to do like a minor league type of thing where it's not backyard? You're pro, but you're just, maybe there's a certain qualification that puts you up with the big boys, but to let some of these guys get in there where they can only, they can buy an inexpensive brisket and try and get these guys into the art of barbecuing and the competition of it without feeling like, they got to work 2 jobs just to support the barbecue. I mean, after all, it's a one bite competition. You're spending almost $2,000 for one bite, and there's no guarantee that you're gonna win anything.
I agree. Now, back in the old days, as I call, back in as the start of KCBS, we did have amateur and professional.
Mm-hmm.
But what we found out most of the time is the amateurs were better than the professionals. And professional would qualify as a caterer, a chef, somebody that actually does the business. And a amateur would be us, somebody who's basically walking in trying to cook. But again, it's 2 different styles of cooking between actually trying to cook at a restaurant and trying to cook competition. Just different world. And I have so many people come up to me in classes wanting, that are running restaurants and say, I want to cook competition. I just tell them, you go broke. You go broke or you go crazy. One of the two.
Right.
You can't do it.
So you're doing good in the competitions. You're rock and rolling around and doing your thing and winning. What dragged you into finally deciding to package some of the rubs and the sauces? Are these rubs and sauces that you actually used in competition, or are these just ones
absolutely? Actually, the rubs and sauces were created by my mom and dad.
Oh, nice.
So unfortunately, my dad passed away 1 month before we won our first world championship at the American Royal. So he did the competition sauce. He did the spicy chipotle. He did those are all his sauces. So pretty much as his legacy, I developed them.
Nice.
My mom, my dad, and myself, we developed the rubs. And my mom passed away in 2009, and I developed those pretty much for her. I'd already had them developed. I was just, I just waiting. And again, it's my legacy. And I love doing it, and I have a lot of passion doing it because, again, it's about them.
Right. And you got a great line of rub. I mean, you got a bunch of them. I carry them here on the shelf. They got a bunch of them over there. You got about 6 or 7 rubs. You got 3 or 4 sauces.
6, soon to be 10.
I did see as people don't know, I showed up a little late because I tried to squeeze in breakfast here before I saw Chris. So I wasn't here for the normal pre-show, making sure it was a quick pre-show. I saw that you're coming out with a new flavor for 24. I saw that on the Facebook.
Yeah, and these have been in development for quite a while. And it's all about timing, Steve. It's you present a brand, you build a brand, you extend the brand. It's hard to do it all at one time, to really concentrate on one SKU, as we would call it. But as you can develop those SKUs across a broad range, and then what you do is you migrate in new SKUs based on, how are your other ones doing? So you can bring in new SKUs and actually sort of, I call it coattail off the other ones. So I have a spicy honey, which I've been asked to do forever. I also have the championship rub, to where I'm going to make it a hot championship rub. I've never really had a hot rub. This is going to be that hot rub, and that championship's a strong brand. So we just added some chipotle to it, and it's got a bite, and people like that bite. Again, is it for everybody? No, but again, people will like that. I am also coming out with a pecan rub, and it's a unique pecan rub. I know there's a lot out there right now. This is definitely unique. And I will come out with basically a pepper, not a salt, pepper, garlic, but a lemon pepper. Lemon pepper is traditionally for the chicken. Now, understand, in the classes I teach, Steve, they're beginners. They're not comp guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What do I hear? What do I hear a lot of is lemon pepper. People love the lemon pepper, and they're using it on chicken. They're pretty much use it on everything. And I've been asked that over multiple times over the years, probably more than anybody, is I don't see a good lemon pepper. I said, I can take care of that.
Well, I got David Adams on. If I can get this thing to work right here. It is David Adams. Welcome, David, for coming on with me and Chris. He says, for those watching this broadcast, if you haven't been to one of Chris Marks' barbecue classes, you need to go. He's a great teacher. Chris makes his classes fun and explains barbecue in a way that makes it easy to learn. And that's the key, is to try and get, and that's kind of what we do here. We do backyard classes, and the goal is to make people feel comfortable in front of their barbecue. I mean, because some people get scared of it. They feel like they have to perform at a certain level, especially guys. They feel like if they stink at the barbecue that they're, but barbecue's fun. I mean, as you know, you've made a career out of it. Barbecue's a fun thing.
And you bring it up. It's so important that so many people get on YouTube University, and they get, I got to do this. I got to wrap it. I got to put honey, butter, brown sugar. I got to wrap it this. I can only use Wagyu. And I'm like, whoa, let's sit back and just take it back. And we're going to start. I'm an IT guy. We're going to go to ones and zeros. We're going to talk about the science. We're going to talk about what makes you comfortable in this hobby. You don't have to be that comp guy, because you probably won't like it. And if you do like it, by the time you get it done, you'll have an extra 10 pounds because of all the phosphates and nitrates and MSG.
Right.
Make it fun. Make it for your family. And once your family's successful, you're successful. And that's why, again, I continue to do classes. I mean, I'm booked. I probably have 15 to 20 booked already for 24. And again, it's because I make it simple and I make people comfortable in the hobby.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I would say my good friend Craig, he's on here from LA. Craig's on usually every time I'm on. So Craig, welcome again. Good to see you back on, coming to us from the nice West Coast. Sunshine out there. Hopefully it's sunny. It's a little cool here in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's cool here too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that's the and to what you were just saying, I can't think of, there may be a few out there, but I can't think of a barbecue person, competition barbecue person, that'll actually admit that when they're cooking in their backyard, what they cook at a competition is what they're serving to their family. Half of them will probably tell you that that's my competition stuff. My other stuff tastes better, because like I said, and unfortunately everybody's restricted to hitting that certain flavor profile, and when they're cooking on their own, it's completely different.
It is. And when I teach, I take people back to the 60s and 70s, the traditionalism of barbecue, that crust, that flavor, that kind of, you walk in, you can smell it. I'm not grilling it. I mean, we're using low and slow. We're cooking at 250, 275. And everybody says, well, now I want to cook at 400. And I go, well, just get you a hamburger then. I mean, if you want to cook our barbecue at 400, just go hamburger. Don't worry about a brisket, because you try doing a brisket out of a packer brisket out of a Sam's Club at 400 degrees, you're going to have shoe leather.
Yeah.
And well, this is what they're doing on YouTube now. And I'm going, don't believe everything you see, guys.
Yeah, there's hot and fast, but 400 to me is a little too hot, a little too fast.
Me too.
But for those of you who are in the Chicago area, local here to Wannamakers, I don't host Chris too often. Actually, I've never had him at all. Not that invitation is not open, but he does down the street. You can look him up. He does a lot at the Barbecue and Chimney Authority, which is attached to the Barbecue Authority. So he does that down the street. And then he also goes up there quite a bit to my good friend Dan Marguerite up there at the Backyard Barbecue Store in Wilmette. So Chris does come to the Chicago area often. Actually, I think you were just here not too long ago.
I was just up at Dan's. Now, the thing about Dan is I've been doing classes at Dan's now for 17 years. Mm-hmm. Usually about 3 to 4 classes a year, 17 years. And again, long-term relationships, these guys are very loyal to me, and we work hard. We work hard at it. And Dan's unbelievable dealer. And he's funny on top of that.
No, he is a great guy. I look at him as the godfather of barbecue stores here in the Chicago area. Dan and I are good friends. Most people don't realize that barbecue store people are good friends with each other, as long as they're not right next door to each other. And even if they probably were, they'd probably still have friendly competition, but they'd still pick each other's brains for stuff. And Dan's got a great store. If you ever had a chance to get up there to the Backyard Barbecue Store, it's worth, and I mentioned it on my Thursday night show last week, I think. It's worth the drive just to even check it out. He's got a bar in there. He's got a restaurant in there. He's got a great venue for classes, because he's got a nice little counter where everybody can sit around and actually see really well. I'm kind of jealous of that a little bit, because I do have a good area, but not as good as that. But
that is a good area. Yeah, that is a good area. And the great thing now, since I'm not affiliated with any line, I teach on Green Egg. I teach on Traeger. I teach on Louisiana. I don't care. I don't care what you cook on. We can cook on a drum. I don't care. I mean, we can teach you how to do traditional barbecue on anything. You don't have to go out and spend $15,000 on an outlaw smoker to cook good barbecue. I mean,
I agree.
It just amazes me when I see people, well, I just saw this and I have to, I'm looking at buying this smoker, and I ask him why. Well, because they're winning on it. I go, I'm going to tell you right now, you won't be. So in 99.99%, I am correct. So again, it doesn't matter what you cook on.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, Chris obviously was, and may not be one. I don't know, maybe he is, but there's a lot of people that have competition guys. They started with Weber Smoky Mountain cookers.
It's exactly what we started with. Exactly.
Did you? Yeah. See, and so it just goes to show you, you don't have to, when you're starting out, you don't have to go out and buy, like Chris is saying, buy this elaborate stuff. It just remember, you're doing it in your backyard. You're just starting out. Learn to perfect your cook. Like Chris is saying, it's like you can cook good stuff on just about anything. I bring back one of our local guys. I don't know if you're familiar with Scotty Johnson from the area here, but
Right. Yeah.
he was at a competition and they were short members, and it was close to where the competition was going to be canceled because they didn't have enough people signed up, and he kicked in. So okay, I'll do it. All he had to cook on was a PK Go. Or a small PK, and that's what he smoked on. And I think he was in top 10 of most of his cooks. So it just goes to show you, if you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're cooking on, as long as you got your fire control and your airflows and you maintain your fire and you cook it well, you can win a championship on almost anything.
Well, there have been people that won the American Royal cooking on Weber Smoky Mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
and I mean, you don't have to have a big cooker to do it. I mean, you don't have big fancy. I mean, Steve, we never had any kind of airflow hooked up. All these people now, they have graphs, and we never used any of that. Again, we made it so freaking hard. I mean, I take it back to just as simple as it can be. It's about flavor. It's about smoke. It's about the protein. It's about heat. That's all it's about, and have fun.
Yeah, I agree with that, because to me, barbecue is fun. Just from being in it the last 7 or 8 years, the underlining thing is that it should be fun. My good friend Brian Pollock always likes to say that all good barbecue came from a lot of bad barbecue, and
that's a fact. That is true.
And that's all it is. You mess it up, it's like, wow, okay, well, I did this. Keep track of what you did and go at it the next time and see it. I mean, the worst thing you're going to do is you're going to eat barbecue. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either way.
I know you can always give it to the neighbors. They always love it. My dad said free barbecue, anybody eats it.
Yeah, right.
And they love it.
So you did have I know you've stepped away from it, but you were with the Good One smoker for a while. Now, was that your design, or was that
the Marshall Gen 3 is my design. I completely took the old unit and redesigned it. Took me about a year, and listened to what everybody had complained about, and I fixed it. And I got a unit. I got basically a backloading charcoal unit that you can cook 12 hours on 20 pounds of charcoal. Just leave the lid down, let it go, and it works. I do it all the time. I got 2 of them in my backyard. But they decided to go another direction. They thought they could do it better themselves. Fine. I mean, that's okay. It opened up my ability to teach on egg, Kamado Joe's, Primos, pretty much everything. And I love it. I love it because I help that dealer. My goal, and I think the reason a lot of these dealers keep me around so long, is when I come in, I want that dealer to sell. I'm not coming in there to do a big cash grab or something like that. I want to show that dealer how he can move product off his shelf. Everything I use, I walk through that store. I said, here's what we're going to use. You need to have it in because we're going to sell it.
Nice.
And that's, I think a lot of the guys who can try to do classes don't quite get that narrative that you've got to help that dealer. And again, that's why I've been able to do it almost 24 years now.
What's
saying?
But well, I don't know. You know what? I get it from doing here. Helping people and having them come back and see the reaction they get on their face from trying something and doing something and seeing them succeed is kind of rewarding. So I mean, to do it for that long, and I'm sure that you've had repeat people come to classes and they've told you success stories and funny stories of failures that they then succeeded with. And I think it's a little bit rewarding to see people actually succeed in something that they're trying to do.
I did convert a vegan. It's a great story up in Cleveland. I did convert a vegan.
Nice. Good job.
And he came in just because he wanted to try salmon. And we actually did burn ends. And he's like, ooh. Oh, yeah, totally converted. And now he's one of my best customers up in Cleveland. Comes to every class, and he has to tell a story every time.
Wow, look at you. That's a pretty
I was
big.
sort of impressed with that one.
So out of all the rubs and sauces you have right now, what would you say is your personal favorite rub, and what's your personal favorite sauce?
Probably as far as sauces go, it'll probably always be the competition because that was my dad's. That was his. That's his blood and sweat. He spent years developing that. And some of the original was so horrible. I mean, you couldn't kill grass with it. It was so bad. And it took him a long time to really develop it. When it comes to rubs, probably the touch of cherry rub. That's my mom's. That was her special rub that we always made fun of course, because it's sort of a touch of cherry is a sissy rub.
Right.
And
I disappeared, but this is
probably guess which one's the best seller.
Touch of cherry.
She just sits there and just laughs at us the whole time.
Well, I would show you a bottle of the competition, but unfortunately, I am out at the moment. I got some on order from Old World Spice, so that should hopefully be here sometimes this week. I was hoping it would be here time for the show, but
so we also developed off the touch of cherry. We developed the touch of cherry sauce.
Yep, that's on its way in. Yep,
and that basically was sort of another one that why don't we use the spices from the cherry and move it into barbecue sauce? And it's been a big hit, huge hit. And that's, again, big demand for those two. I'm very honored to have that demand for those two.
So do you think your mom's telling your dad that, look at what I developed is so good that it's able to be a sauce and a rub?
Absolutely. My mom loves to win. My dad didn't care about winning. My mom was a competitor. My mom was an all-state basketball player. Wow. And my dad, he just wasn't too much into sports. And, my mom was the competitive one by far. And that's what made us fun.
Well, and that's good. I mean, you got a little bit of both in there. Then you got your competitive side, and then you got the helpful side, and and I hate to tell you, I say this all over every show I do, and when I have big names on like Chris and stuff like that. Chris is pretty genuine. That's a pretty common barbecue attitude of they want to help and they want you to learn stuff. A lot of them. There are a few out there they think there's a lot of they know that it's them that's cooking it and that's what's doing it. Some of it's the rub, some of this, but a lot of it's technique that they may hold a little bit back, but they want you to get excited about stuff. And barbecue family truly is family. And as you can see, Chris is willing to throw his knowledge to everybody. And that's pretty cool.
At the American Royal, I probably had 40 or 50 people that have been in my classes come up and say hi and thanks and cook in the Royal, and I help every one of them. I don't care who you are. And this was sort of our big play, Steve, at the American Royal. Mm-hmm. So American Royal, everybody's confused when you go to the American Royal, when you're coming from the outside. They think that you're going to walk into this contest at 500 teams and everybody's going to be out there just serving barbecue.
Yeah.
So you get there and there's a lot of teams. And again, it's changed over the years. So it's really sort of tightened up where a lot of people stay in their RVs. They don't come out. They put signs out. I'll be out if you want to talk to me. Here, you can talk to me at this time. Our goal is if I see somebody wandering around, you come in. We're going to talk. We're going to have barbecue. I mean, that was the way my dad did it. He just, if he saw somebody that looked lost, he'd bring them in. We'd feed them. We did that multiple times this year at the American Royal. And it was sort of our play. We want to help people. I ended up doing 3 classes for the American Royal, and we had probably 45, 30, and 30. So, we probably had close over 100 people in those classes from all over the country. And these people, again, didn't quite understand what they're getting into at the Royal. But again, and I want those other teams to ask people in. But again, it comes to the point where everybody sort of wants to be a little Memphis-y in May, to where you have to have a bracelet, you have to pay, you got to get past our security guard. No, you come on in, we're going to help you.
Nice. And that's it. That's attitude. That's family. That's what barbecue's all about.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you for coming on the show. Next time you're in the Chicago area, please stop by. I know you were here. God, you were here years ago. You breezed through the store.
Yeah.
It's really got a different look to it now as far as the assortment and all that other stuff that Next time you're in the area, breeze through and just message me, make sure I'm here. But love to have you take a look at the way things have changed since the last time you were here. It's got to be 5-6 years or since
Oh yeah, I
you breezed
remember.
through. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a quick funny story from that competition, from that visit. Last time Chris was in, he was standing there, and of course he's wearing his American Royal ring and all this other stuff. And this gentleman comes up and kind of just stands right in front of Chris and's talking to me, and he's asking me all these barbecue questions, this and this and this. And I said, I was kind of looking at Chris to see what his input was, and the guy kept moving in front of Chris because it's like, okay, well, who's this jamoke that he keeps looking at, And finally I said, well, you may want to get some advice from this gentleman over here. And he kind of looks at him like, well, why should I ask from you? And Chris shows him the ring. I said, well, I've only run the Royal like 8 times. And the guy's like, oh my God. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden Chris was, he could get advice from Chris at that point. But before then
Yeah.
it was kind of like he wanted nothing to do with him. Hey, he knows a lot more than I do. You don't keep pushing him aside because you're going to want to talk to him. But yeah, if you're in town, please stop by. Let's see. David says, Chris Marks, I need to get with you and schedule another class.
David is from Wichita, and
Okay.
David and Paul Cox have been working with me for probably 20 years. And David's an ex-officer, and we do a lot of work down in that Wichita area.
Nice. Well, David, thanks for coming on. Thanks for supporting barbecue and all that other good stuff, because I think it's fun. Well, I'll let you get back to your. I let you get back to your day. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Hope to have you on again sometime soon. Maybe if not, we'll try and get you onto the Thursday night at 7 show. That's a little different. Gets a little different viewership. So maybe we'll have to get you on that one as well. But thanks for coming on.
Let me know anytime.
Your products do really well. I wish you luck in all your classes and all your travels, and glad to see you're still doing good health-wise as well. So
I'm doing great. I haven't felt this good in probably 25 years. So again, thank you so much, and thanks for supporting me. Thanks, Steve.
No problem. Thanks, Chris.
Bye-bye.
See ya. All right, everybody, that was Chris Marks from Three Little Pigs. I do have it here on the shelf here at Wannamakers. Of course I would. There it is. It even says right. Oh, now it's 9-time barbecue world champion. See down there? I don't know, where's the camera. There it is. Where it is. Yeah. It's got great products. Nice gentleman as well. If you get a chance to get one of his classes in, I do recommend it. I know we do the ones here at Wannamakers, and we know we have one coming up on October 28th, but always kind of keep your eye out. Maybe go to threelittlepigs.com or his Facebook page and just kind of keep it. He's a good teacher, fun classes, and all around great barbecue ambassador. That's all I can say about that. Anybody that comes on the show with me, I agree with that as well, because that they do that. But thanks for Chris for taking time out of his day. A couple things going on here at Wannamakers. Do have a couple new flavors coming in from Malcolm Reed from Killer Hogs. They're not Killer Hogs. It's from his Malcolm line. So we get a couple new flavors coming in from there. We'll keep those a surprise, but to kind of keep watch for the barbecue, the Wannamakers Barbecue and Smoke Supply page to see what those will be when they come in. But they are ordered. Hopefully they'll be here later this week or sometime early next week, and we'll post and let everybody know. Other big thing that's coming up at the end of the month, October 28th, is our Holiday Meats class with Risky Brisket. Always a fun class. The classes here, we used to always call them our class experience, because it is an experience. Not only do you get to learn some things, you get to eat some great barbecue. Sean Young puts on a great class. Him and Dave do a great job with the classes. You learn a lot, you eat a lot, and more importantly, you get to meet new people and other people that have the same interests that you do. And there's a bunch of people that have been through the classes that have become great friends and still get in contact with each other and do stuff. And sometimes they take classes again. I know my former co-host for this show and my current co-host from the other show, and Ryan, I met him through the classes along with Fred from Little Bird Kitchens and some of the other guys. So it's kind of great. It's great to see people coming back to the classes, but they are fun. So if you know of anybody that's looking for something and looking to do a Saturday, just enjoying some barbecue and learning some stuff, feel free to sign up for that. You can go to wannamakers.com under upcoming events, you can go to the Wannemakers Home and Garden Facebook page. You can go to the Wannemakers Barbecue and Smoke Supply page, which is this one, and sign up for that. But they are fun classes. I do recommend them. And it's always nice, as I say, we tried to, at Wannemakers here to not only give you the best selection, which I think we have, one of the best selections, not the best selections in the western suburbs of Chicago. But then we also try to support a lot of locals. There's a lot of local brands on my shelves behind me here. And more importantly is we do like to build a community, which involves the classes, like I said, to help you feel more comfortable in front of the barbecue and cooking, and give yourself a little more control over what you're doing in your backyard, and allow yourself to get some confidence to feel that you can cook some pretty nice stuff. And like I said, don't always try to do the championship stuff. Just try to cook something that you like, experiment, have fun with it, because that's the big thing. Barbecue is fun. So with that, I am going to be done for this week. Next week's show, we are going to revive Methods with Meathead. Meathead Goldwyn will be here on the show from AmazingRibs.com. He will be here at 11 a.m. and we will, I don't know what our topic's going to be because I haven't had that time to really discuss with Meathead what we want to do, but he will be on the show next Tuesday. So join me next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We will have Meathead Goldwyn on, barbecue Hall of Famer and just all around great guy. Tons of knowledge. So look for that event to get put up, and make sure you share it with anybody that knows Meathead or is interested in something or wants to ask him a question. It's always a fun time with Meathead. I don't get to ask too many questions when Meathead's on. He does have the gift of gab. He does like to talk, but usually it's always great stuff. So it's nice to have him as a friend. So with that, I am going to head out. As always, please remember to shop small, shop local, support your small independent retailers, and most of all, please be kind and courteous to all your retail employees, servers, bartenders, people that work in the hotel, anybody that has to involve in dealing with the public. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they have, and we just need to start spreading the love a little bit, and just be a little bit more patient, and just look around and enjoy life. That's all I can say. Ferris Bueller would say, if you don't stop once in a while and take a look around, you may miss something. So with that, I will let you all go and have a great Tuesday. And this Thursday night at 7 on It's All About the Barbecues Thursday night barbecue chat, we have I will be down at the Lyle Pizza Academy cooking pizza. So look forward to seeing you then. So if you're looking to do that, look for that event. That's going to be on It's All About the Barbecue. And have a great Tuesday, everybody, and look forward to seeing you next week. See ya.